the idea that Tom Brady's, we are led to believe his marriage then becoming a divorce and family life was basically on the rocks because he just couldn't say no to football. Now, who knows what else was going on behind the scenes. He comes back for a Todd Bowles-led Bucs team in a bad NFC South, and here he is bowing out, getting blown out by the Dallas Cowboys, who can't beat anybody in the playoffs ever. And he looks 45 playing quarterback last night. Now, throughout the year, he had moments where he looked old, and throughout the year, he had moments where, some of those comebacks that Adam had talked about there, where, he dialed it back and, they were able to put up points late. He still has those throws in him. You saw the throw down to Evans in the sideline, the throw to Julio Jones. It was in the end zone, but still the overwhelming majority last night was a lot of ugly football. You were talking about another 17-game schedule next year, and teams like the Raiders or the Dolphins, I guess the Bucs as well, might all be interested. And Adam, Brady would not commit to coming back immediately last night. And matter of fact, I believe it was Aikman who said flat out that Brady is going to take as much time as he needs, which, please, Tom. Yeah, no teams have any game worrying about planning for their offseason. You take as much time as you need, pal. Let me ask you this. What you saw last night, what you saw this season, do you think that Tom Brady will come back, but do you think he should come back? And if he will/should, do you think any team really should be looking to add a Tom Brady this offseason?
So I'm going to take you back a long time, Shaun, a long time back in Tom Brady's career and a long time back in actual time, all the way back to the year 2019. Man, such a long time ago for Tom Brady, huh? Back when he was a young 42 years old. And we were saying, Tom Brady, falling off in New England. Is it done? What's going to happen? Well, Tom Brady that year was the number 10 rated Pro Football Focus passer for New England Patriots. And then he appears in Tampa. And year one in Tampa, he's quarterback number 2 in those PFF rankings. And the next year, he's also quarterback number 2 in those rankings. And this year, when Tom Brady was categorically not as good as he was last year, when he was 45 years old, when he was smelling like Ben Gay, when he was drinking Prue juice on the sidelines, he was Pro Football Focus 7th rated quarterback. He's fine. He's going to be fine. If he wants to play again next year, he absolutely should play again next year. Tom Brady this year threw more passes than any other quarterback in the National Football League by a large amount. That shouldn't happen again. Tom Brady should not be asked to throw the ball more than 700 times in a season, because that is not a formula for success, as we saw by the end of this year. Because part of what you saw last night was not just Tom Brady being cooked at the end of the year. That was part of it. But part of it was the fact that he has not had any semblance of an offensive line for this entire season. I mean, everybody was going nuts over the fact that the center was coming back last night for them after getting hurt in preseason, and that doesn't do anything about the tackles that were getting eaten alive by Micah Parsons. So yes, you're going to have to put him behind a better line, but let's give it up with the idea of trying to figure out when Tom Brady is going to be done. He hasn't been done. He hasn't been done even when we thought he was done in the past.
I got to disagree. And me and you haven't had many disagreements. I think he is going to come back because he just cannot let go. Ironically, he can't let go. I will say this, man. This is different than 2019. Number one, 42 is old. 45 is older, okay? And 46 is even older than that, and we haven't seen any quarterback be able to do it. It doesn't mean that Tom Brady, if he came back, won't have a moment or two like we saw this year coming back versus the Rams. But think about what you just said. You talked about the offensive line being in shambles because he's completely immobile and setting this stuff up around him. All right, teams that are going to be desperate for his services. Now, maybe the 49ers are a little bit of a different situation if that ends up being the team. But the Raiders, I mean, they've got a lot of problems. Their offensive line's not great. The Dolphins, okay, that's a good situation. He's got good receivers or whatever, but their offensive line had problems throughout this year. There was a point in time for a long time where we didn't worry who the heck Tom Brady's offensive linemen were because Tom Brady made sure everybody else was around him better. Now we're having the Tom Brady conversation, essentially admitting everything around him has to be perfect. And then once everything around him is perfect, we are talking about another 17-game schedule where you sign Tom Brady, A, probably to sell some tickets, sure, but B, because you think that in the big moments and the big games, he's going to rise to the occasion. You know, you want to go win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, which I would assume if you're signing Tom Brady as your goal, you're talking about winning another, you're playing 20 more football games. Did anything last night or even down the stretch? I'm sorry, I know the Bucs stunk. That, you know, there were moments he stunk in a lot of these games. I don't care what Pro Football Focus's stats say. There were a lot of wet noodle throws and a lot more wet noodle throws than there used to be. If I am a team looking to contend and build a Super Bowl winner, I can't sign Tom Brady next year. I can't do it because I don't have faith that I'm going to get through 20 games with him doing enough that's needed to go win a Lombardi.
I don't care what the stats say. All right. I hear you. You saw some wet noodle throws and you didn't like it. Now, you want to talk about pass blocking. Let's just go back to that and talk about an offensive line and whether or not he needs everything to go right. How many quarterbacks in the NFL are there that can survive a bad offensive line? But all right, let's talk about New England then. The last 4 years in New England, he did not have a pass blocking unit that rated outside the top 12, and he was still great. And the last couple of years, he's had a pass blocking unit in Tampa Bay that was among the league's best, and he was great. And this year, they even adjusted. This year, Tom Brady had the quickest time to throw of any quarterback in the National Football League, 2.2 seconds. The ball was out of his hands almost immediately. Well, what have we talked about with Tom Brady so much? It's that he gets by with his brain as much as he does with his arm at this point of his career. His brain didn't have any time to do anything this year. They had decided they knew this line was bad, and they also knew that they were dealing with injuries as they always do with that team in the receiving core. How are they going to be able to run a competent offense given all of those things? So I hear you when you say, don't go to the Raiders. You're right. Don't go to the Raiders. That offensive line is an absolute disaster. But San Francisco, yeah, that is maybe the best offensive line in the National Football League behind the single best offensive lineman in the National Football League in Trent Williams. And then you look at the situation in Miami where you have Teron Armstead anchoring that line on the left-hand side. And my God, the idea of can your receivers get open quick enough to matter? Well, yeah, if I have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I'm pretty confident that he can get open. I would say a minimum of half the teams in the National Football League would benefit from having Tom Brady as their quarterback over their current quarterback if you're just talking about next year in 2023.
Okay, and on that note, we're going to do a little live radio, Adam. I'm going to need you to keep talking because I have a fire alarm going off in my house, and I want to make sure my house is not on fire. So please give me a second.
Here's the guy who he lost the argument. Here goes Shaun Morash leaving his chair. Shaun Morash said, I can't win against Adam Candee. You're not the first, and you won't be the last, buddy. I understand what it takes to keep up in this arena. It takes stamina. It takes gumption. It takes intelligence, and it takes stick-to-itiveness. And I don't know which one of those you're displaying here right now, Shaun Morash. I'm not sure. Was it Alex Guerrero who came and pulled your fire alarm? Is that who it was? Did you have do you have Bill Belichick come and pull that fire alarm? Did you not want to have to sit here and argue this point with me anymore? Look, Tom Brady, when it comes to being able to perform at a top level, we can stop throwing the age number around at this point. We don't need to talk about 42 versus 43 versus 44 versus 45. For whatever reason, whether it's genes, whether it's training method, I don't know. And in the end, I don't care because it's not part of this argument. What I know about Tom Brady is that he has been able to defy convention for a very long time. And I agree. He did not look the same as he did this year at age 45 as he did the previous year at age 44. And even given that, he was a quarterback who I think was a consensus top 10 in the NFL quarterback throughout the season, with no offensive line, with a banged up wide receiver core, with an offensive coordinator who insisted on putting him in the worst possible situations over and over and over again. No one ran the ball more on first and second down than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did. So now we see Shaun Morash sitting back down in his chair. He got a hug from his mommy. He got a little sip of warm milk. And now he's ready to go back after this again. Fire alarm. Oh, I had a fire alarm. Is that what happened? Is the building on fire,
Yeah.
Shaun? Or is it just your pants that are on fire?
My pants are on fire, and some old pizza had burned in the oven, apparently. And when I turned the oven on to heat up dinner later on, that happened. So we had that going on. Some cheese had melted to the bottom of the oven that I was unaware of. And when I sparked it up, I had preheated an oven. Yeah, well, basically, I'm a fat freaking disgrace, Adam. No, I still think you're wrong on the advanced stats. I'm sorry. I don't care. Like, the offensive line issues that we are talking about, this day and age, look at these quarterbacks. You have to be somewhat mobile. It is very hard to find a unit of 5 great offensive line, harder than ever in the NFL to do that. And I just think, look, you might get the best of Brady in September and October. But as soon as those games start getting a little colder, depending on where you are, or the team starts to wear down, you can't guarantee, even if you have 5 great offensive linemen, that they're all going to stay healthy as well on top of Brady. I just think there's just so many other directions to go with a quarterback now. Younger quarterback. Geez, again, look at the Niners are able to do here with Brock Purdy if you have the good coaching as well. The Brady thing is so done. And right now you can get odds on the Raiders being the favorite to land him, and the Jets right behind them, which would be so funny to watch him go to the Jets and just suck there after he's killed them forever. And, of course, the Pats in the mix, Miami in the mix. So, I mean, bottom line is this, Adam, when you talk about this, and if he is going to come back, we expect him to come back, you expect him to go to the Raiders?
I think that's going to be the talk because we've seen the McDaniels connection, but I don't know that he makes that decision because I think Tom Brady's smart enough to know what going to the AFC means. It means you have to go through Mahomes. It means you have to go through Burrow. It means you have to go through Allen. It means you have to go through Herbert, Lawrence, on and on and on. I don't think Tom Brady's making that decision. I think Tom Brady's going to look at the fact that he is much better off in the NFC. And ultimately, I know he said his goodbyes in Tampa, but he's proven that he is comfortable in that situation in Tampa Bay. I don't see what the reason is for him not to return to Tampa, or if he's going to go and play for another team, why wouldn't you go to San Francisco? The setup is absolutely perfect. You win one at home to end your career. Wouldn't that be the ideal cherry on top for the kid who grew up a 49ers fan in the Bay Area?
Yeah, I mean, if you were going to sell me on anything as far as what I think the best situation if he were to succeed would be, I actually do think it's San Francisco. But again, if you're a Niner fan right now, you have actually options at quarterback internally. Brock Purdy's got him in the second round right now, and that's a 7th-round rookie. Do you really need Tom Brady to push you over the edge?
I want to know that we can commit to coming back here on January 17th of 2024 and remind ourselves that we were having the Brock Purdy versus Tom Brady discussion. I just want to know that we can have that you will not have a fire alarm 1 year from today,
Adam,
that you will be able to properly heat your pizza 1 year from today.
Adam, I don't know what the future of Brock Purdy is, and I am waiting for the shoe to drop. I am readily admitting that. If you were to ask me today who I'd rather have as my starting quarterback in the NFL next year, it's not even a debate. It's Brock Purdy over Tom Brady. It is not even a debate at this point. The Brady thing is so shot. And you can make your faces all you want. It doesn't mean he's going to have a better career. It doesn't mean like that's who I'd rather be. I'm telling you in 2024, I would rather have Brock Purdy based on what I've seen than a 46-year-old Tom Brady. And I don't even think it's up for debate. Matter of fact, I don't even think I'm in the minority in that.